Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the Gtech Community Stadium. Brentford leading against Leeds by 2-1, which is an interesting scoreline considering that Leeds would have felt very hard done by to be 2 goals down. Penalty of Sinisterra sliding in, not getting any of the ball after a long VAR review. The penalty was given and converted by Ivan Toney. Leeds responded very well with some attacking possession, but then Brentford won themselves a free kick, and a fabulous free kick it was too, taken by Ivan Toney right into the top corner. And Brentford looked good for a 2-0 lead at half-time, but credit to Leeds, they again responded well, having conceded that second goal, and it was the man who gave away the penalty, Luis Sinisterra, who pulled the goal back. Great run down the middle of the pitch before a right-footed strike beating David Raya. So it's poised very interestingly now for this second half. Leeds have made a change. Patrick Bamford is on. We're just waiting for confirmation who's gone off, but I don't think
Harrison.
It is Harrison, yes. So this is an interesting change and a strong challenge here in the first minute as well, as both sets of players having a bit of a discussion there, but the referee, Rob Jones, just trying to calm things down. But that change as well there, John, that's an interesting one with Harrison coming on. Does that mean that Gelhardt will drop into a number 10 role and Aronson out wide?
I think you're right. You know, Sinisterra can play on either flank. Aronson probably out on the right-hand side, then with Gelhardt in behind Patrick Bamford. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. Again, Tyler Adams getting himself involved with Matthias Jensen doing a Cumberland throw on him. And I think there's no doubt there he's probably trying to wind him up a little bit there. He's only smaller than Tyler Adams, but I think he'd give it a go, having a fight with
Well, I think
Jensen.
so, yeah. He's definitely got that tenacious spirit about him. But Leeds are now in possession of midfielder. Aronson just robbed of the ball there. Brentford now back with Rico Henry. A ball down the left-hand side, a bit under hit there for Ivan Toney. Good work there from Drame to win that one back for Leeds. So just to remind you of the 2 11s, David Raya in goal for Brentford, a back 4 of Aaron Hickey, Pontus Jansson, Ben Mee and Rico Henry. 3 in midfield, Shandon Baptiste, Vitaly Yano and Matthias Jensen, with Brian Mbumo, Keane Lewis Potter and 2 goal scoring Ivan Toney up front for Brentford. For Leeds, Ilan Meslier is in goal, a back 4 of Cody Drame, Robin Koch, Diego Llorente and Pascal Stroud. Tyler Adams and Marc Roca are the 2 holding midfielders, with Luis Sinisterra, Brendan Aronson and Joe Gelhardt as the 3 playing behind Patrick Bamford, who comes on for Jack Harrison at the start of the second half. Leeds in possession now down the left-hand side, and here is a chance now for Sinisterra to work down the left-hand side. He did have an overlap there from Stroud, chose to ignore it, goes back to Adams. And now it's Roca at the edge of the area. But Leeds have men over here, and they've got men in the box as well if they can get a cross in. Just exchanging passes. Now the ball played back towards the edge of the area, and Koch is there to try and help, but he's robbed of the ball, and suddenly Brentford have a counter-attacking opportunity. Toney finds Mbumo, who's got Diego Llorente for company, but Toney now looking to switch play, and he does so. He finds Keane Lewis Potter on the left-hand side, and it's neither a shot or a cross from Lewis Potter in the end. It was too tame and too wide to be a shot, and it wasn't accurate enough a pass to be a ball to Toney either.
Yeah, it's a really disappointing finish. You know, when the ball goes to him, he's in plenty of space. He's kept himself on side. And albeit that you want to play, your quick counter-attack and use the ball quickly, I also feel that, there was a lot more play left in that for Brentford. Sometimes you've got to put your foot on it, wait for other players to support attacks.
Well, here come Leeds now at the other end with Bamford going forward. We were still getting replays of the Brentford chance. We go back to live pictures, and Bamford heading towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area, trying a curling left-footed finish, but missing the goal in the end. It's important from Leeds' point of view that Bamford finds form, and now that he is back in the team.
Yeah, did really well there, and he was quite quick, wasn't he? He ran round Ben Mee there, which is a little bit surprising. And then he managed to get a left foot shot away, but he stuffed it really. But I think you give credit to David Raya, who seems to have cut down the angle.
He has. We've got our first goal in the second half in the Premier League this afternoon, and it's a Tyreek Mitchell own goal that gives Newcastle the lead at home to Crystal Palace. In fact, it's only Chelsea West Ham that is still goalless in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. As here come Leeds now. Aronson to stop with a strong challenge there from me, but a clean one. He does win the ball back, and here is Shandon Baptiste for Brentford now. Leeds are tracking back here. Brentford have got players going forward here down the right hand side. It's gone towards Mbumo. 2 Brentford players waiting in the area. Mbumo does try a cross, and he gets onto the head of Lewis Potter, but it was always just a little bit too high for him, and he heads it out for a goal kick. But warnings there for Leeds when they're pushing forward. Brentford are catching them out again.
Yeah, Leeds coming out second half, all guns are blazing, let's go, get a goal back. But, they know that they've got to be careful because Brentford are all about the counter-attack, which we've seen throughout the game. The best chance of this half, well, was it with Lewis Potter? He was in the free, or was it with Patrick Bamford? I don't know, but I think the way the game's shaping is really nice. Leeds forced the goal forward, is allowing Brentford to play their game.
He is, and ball playing out from the back now with Koch under pressure. Doesn't want to play it too long. He does find Aronson, who takes it down. That's a poor touch, though, from Aronson, picked off here by Rico Henry. That's an equally poor ball from Henry. Both sides giving the ball away far too cheaply. Diego Llorente now for Leeds. Inside towards Marc Roca. And space now for Pascal Stroud down the left-hand side. He's got options left and right. He finds Bamford just over to the right-hand side. Bamford playing the ball in towards the edge of the area, towards Gelhardt, who tried to go back to Bamford. Matthias Jensen stepping in and getting in the way of that. And then a loose ball heading back into the Brentford penalty area. I'm not sure. I think he probably could have picked that up, but he doesn't want to take a chance. Clears it with the left foot up towards the halfway line. Kept in play by Robin Koch. And it's headed away at the edge of the area now by Ben Mee. Although Drame is there, putting pressure on Lewis Potter, and Leeds win it back. Gelhardt now clips the ball into the penalty area, and it's I think there's an offside flag there, just as Bamford was waiting to pull the trigger. A couple of quick updates as well. The Newcastle goal against Palace for the own goal has been ruled out for a foul in the build-up, so it's still 0-0 between Newcastle and Palace. And Bournemouth have a goal back at the City Ground, and it's Phil Billing, who we're told is playing in the unusual role of the number 10 position today, but it seems to be paying off now. Billing reducing the arrears there for Bournemouth away at Nottingham Forest, as Bamford's effort was going over the bar, but as I've said, he was offside in the build-up to that.
I think Aaron Hickey there put him under that much pressure. It forced him to play the ball more quickly, and his finish wasn't quite as good. And in any case, he had only just strayed offside. But it was a clever little ball flicked over the top. This game's got everything going for it right now, hasn't it? I mean, the game's swinging end to end. It's compelling viewing. Brentford, I've been just a little bit disappointed with them, really, so far today. I mean, they've scored 2 goals and they're playing counter-attack, but they're just being dominated a little bit too much, I think.
And they've not been as crisp as they normally are in the final third. They've had chances in the final third, but a couple of pull balls from Mbeumo and Lewis Potter in particular. Brentford fans on social media clambering for him to get a start after he made a couple of good substitute appearances. But I'm just thinking if Visser was in the same position today on a couple of occasions, he may have done a little bit more with it.
Yeah, maybe. You never know, do you? It's funny. We see players who come off the bench and do well, like Ben Rama has been doing recently, and when he starts, then all of a sudden it dissolves. So that's it. I think quite difficult starting. Sometimes easier to come off the bench. Absolutely,
yes. And Brentford now having to do a bit of work here as the loose ball at the edge of the area was quickly played back towards David Raya. Gelhardt was closing down. Raya finds Rico Henry down the left, who's been put under pressure from Aronson. Aronson wins the ball back, plays it to Bamford. Back to Brendan Aronson now, gets to the edge of the area. Baptiste just muscles him off the ball there. Although Baptiste running straight into problems in the form of Tyler Adams. So Leeds still have possession here at the edge of the area. Sinistera thought about the shot, just leaves it here for Tyler Adams. And then it's Marc Roca with the effort, driving that one towards goal. But it's just over the bar.
Yeah, I mean, again, look how now Brentford are. They're allowing the out wide. When the shot comes in, though, nobody's really closed down. In the end, it sails over the top of Raya's goal, and he's more than got that covered. But again, I just think, they've got to be careful. Just having bodies back is not enough. You've still got to, do your due diligence. Still plenty of movement from Leeds, who are winning a lot of ball, but here now's an opportunity.
Oh, a great opportunity. A couple of headers, finds Lewis Potter in the box. Oh, and it goes just wide after a deflection. I think Meslier's got to take the credit for that. It's a good save from the Leeds keeper, but Brentford with a couple of headed assists there. The ball headed up in the air by Toney, headed by Mbeumo right into the path of Lewis Potter. That's going to cause problems there for Jesse Marsch, wondering how a couple of headers were allowed to go on at the edge of his own box, but then credit to Meslier, it's the left thigh that puts it out for a corner.
Yeah, it just comes off his thigh and goes out. Whether it was on target, I don't know, but I think that, Meslier got out quick enough there to close his angles. Toney is winning his duel there with somebody who's quite a few inches taller than him, but we said he's good in the air.
Corner kick then to Brentford on the right hand side. Looks like it may be an outswinger here from Matthias Jensen. Plenty of bodies inside the box. He does clip that one towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a hanging ball and an attempted acrobatic volley there as well from Ivan Toney. That would have been quite a hat-trick if he'd have scored that as well, based on the first 2 goals he got in the first half.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, his right foot free kick was an absolute screamer, and he's done his job today, hasn't he? Winning headers, puts his penalty away, which you know he's going to do, but then the free kicks out the top drawer. We know how difficult that is. Even great players like Beckham didn't do that week in, week out, did they? Jensen here, but tumbling to the ground. What happened? Well, I think it's his own fault, really, because he's just a little bit late, brings Aronson down, and then he tripped over him. Yeah,
it's essentially... he actually gets trodden on by his own teammate. The contact with Aronson, I think, caused him fewer problems than the fact that Rico Henry that went over the top of him, and I think he actually treaded on his teammate there.
Not what you want, is it, really? But anyway, all that in a foul on Aronson. Anyway, Leeds haven't given up hope of at least a point from this game, but again, it's a poor long ball from them. They're going at it hard, aren't they? 10 minutes after the restart, and it's all guns a-blazing for Leeds, but still not really creating that much.
They're not, and Brentford have actually had a couple of very good chances themselves with Lewis Potter with that effort just a moment ago, and the effort he had earlier, which should have been a pass to Ivan Toney, but in the end it was a diagonal ball that was neither a shot or a cross, as Brentford having real problems to play out from the back here. Was a throw to Brentford just before the halfway line. Leeds have now won it back, and here is Bamford. He's got options left and right. There is an overlap, but Bamford just holding on to the ball for the time being. Is now with Sinisterra down the left. He goes back in towards to Tyler Adams, I should say, and then the ball cleared away by Matthias Jensen, but only as far as Diego Llorente. He tries a lofted ball towards Sinisterra that doesn't quite reach its intended target. Leeds back in possession. That's not a good ball though from Marc Roca. That's easily picked off by Keane Lewis Potter. He just needs an option here, and he's had all day to pass that ball. He's robbed of it, and now a great chance here for Leeds to have an equal. Oh, the shot is straight at David Raya. And that was a great opportunity for a Sinisterra there. Brentford quickly restarting play here now with Vitaly Janelt back towards Jensen. And Jensen's ball over the top. And Meslier's come out an awful long way. And Meslier's left his goal open. This is a great chance now. Toney clips it over. And Brentford lead 3-1 on 57 minutes. And it's Ivan Toney with a Premier League hat-trick. But it looks like Ian Meslier was just pressing too high up, missed the ball, and then couldn't get back from no man's land.
Well, a bit of Keystone Cops in that, but equally a bit of brilliance from Ivan Toney. Hauling getting all the big licks this season about his hat-trick, perfect hat-trick first half last time out. Ivan Toney's shown us his range and quality. Meslier shakes his head, but Toney's finish was great. No, there's no goalkeeper in there, but there's still a man on the line he's got to beat. Anyway, 2 Leeds players sell their soul here. That means Meslier has to come out. His clearance, though, is straight to Toney. There's still a load of work to do. There's a man backtracking there, but he's not going to get there. But it's a fine finish from Ivan Toney.
It is. I mean, Meslier's got his hands aloft because, of course, he was left completely isolated by the Leeds defence, playing a little bit too high. Nobody got on the end of it. And Meslier's forced to slide in. I mean, I suppose if we're going to be dissecting it, maybe his slide challenge could have been better. He could have put more of an angle on it to make sure it went out for a throw rather than putting it back into the middle of the park. But that's all happening in a split second. I'm being quite harsh on Meslier there. The point is that it was a quick ball, and the Leeds defence and the goalkeeper, there was just that moment of indecision.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame the goalkeeper there. I think he's been put in a really difficult position. He's got to come and try and clear it out. And in the end, what do you say? Brentford have got enough players up the park, feeding off the potential of that situation to pick it up. Yeah,
we're going to see a change here as well. It looks like it's Shandon Baptiste to go off. Straight midfield swap here, really. Shandon Baptiste off and Josh De Silva on. Silva scoring a couple of big goals for Brentford already this season. He got the equaliser away at Leicester, scored the first goal against Manchester United. But also, you can see that Frank Onyeka is on as well. So it looks like it's a double change here for Brentford with Keane Lewis Potter going off, is it?
Yeah, that's right. So fresh legs there, and clearly as a click has come on for Gelhardt, a chance for both two teams to make changes.
Yeah, so click is on for Gelhardt. That's an interesting one as well. He's such a popular player, Mateusz Klich, and I know quite a few Leeds fans are sort of they've got sort of mixed feelings about him because he's not really had the form that he had previously, but he's been such a big player for Leeds for so many seasons they don't really want to see him go either.
Yeah, it's difficult really. He not got great pace about him, but he's a marathon runner, and not only that, he scored vital goals as well. I think he's still got a part to play for Leeds, but probably off the bench as it stands with the new players drafted in.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem for the Polish national team manager Czesław Michniewicz, because two players based in England who were always regulars in the Polish team have now both been dropped by their first teams, as in Southampton's Jan Bednarek doesn't really start for them anymore, and Klich doesn't start for Leeds either. But Brentford now pushing forward here with Ivan Toney. Just to confirm as well that I think it was Matthias Jensen that went off for Frank Onyeka. We'll confirm that in a second. But Tony's ball into the box just gets a slight deflection, and it's away for it's into the arms of Ilan Meslier. So just to confirm, that double change for Brentford, Josh Da Silva has come on to replace Shander Baptiste, and Frank Onyeka has come on to replace Matthias Jensen. So it's a double midfield change here from Thomas Frank. And an interesting one with Onyeka, because he was actually due to go out on loan in the middle of the week. There was a talk that he was going to spend the season on loan at Middlesbrough, but because of the injury to Norgard, they said, well, we need him in the team, and he's back. He's on today, just like he came on against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that's it. Swings and rounds, isn't it? You never quite know, really, and it's all ifs and buts. Leeds felt that they could let Dan James go, and you just wonder, they're still a bit thin on the ground.
I was surprised by that. I mean, I know he hasn't sort of bedded down in that Leeds team as much as people would have liked, but that's because he was playing a lot of his games out of position. He was being asked to do an isolated frontman role, which isn't really his position. But it may well be that Jesse Marsch thought he was a bit of a luxury player, maybe.
I just think lack of end product from him, really. But also he's got that great pace about him, the ability to pick pockets, and in general play, he's a big plus. But just when it comes to finishing, I'm sure Fulham will take advantage where Leeds could not. He'll suit some styles better than others.
Absolutely, yeah. Just thinking of that as well. There's here come Leeds down the right hand side. A good chance here now for Aronson. Puts the ball in, hooked up in the air by Ben Mee. Gets a lot of height on it. Not too much distance. It still drops just at the edge of the area here for Cody Dramé. Square now to Tyler Adams. And it's with Pascal Strauch on the left-hand side. Finds Luis Sinisterra. Fabulous goal from him to get Leeds back into the game just before half-time. And he takes on his man and easily gets past Hickey. Pushed down to the ground. Well, now, referee Rob Jones just skips away almost nonchalantly, like he said, I can't believe you even thought that was going to be a penalty. But I have to say that even with my Brentford colours on, I've got to say that I thought that was a push in the back.
Looked like shoving the back. He had all of his shirt. He's got goal side of him. From the angle I've just seen, it looks like he's doing a little bit too much.
Yep.
And it's actually
we've just had that confirmed on our screen now that Summerville has just come on for a Sinisterra. That was actually the first move that he had. So Crysencio Summerville now is on the field for Leeds.
Yeah, he's a real will o' the wisp. He's only 5'6", I think, but he'd been playing really well for the reserves and what have you. He's only a young kid as well. Looks like a stiff breeze could blow him over. There's a little break here. I think maybe. I
think Jesse Marsch is going to get a telling off here.
He might get a yellow card here because he looks furious. But again, if you've just seen what we'd seen, I've got to say that initially I thought it looks really bad. Second view of it, I thought, no, it's not a penalty. He was desperate and he gets a red card.
Straight red. Well, that must be based on what he said to our fourth official. And I'll just to say as well, our fourth official this afternoon is Keith Stroud, who is generally hated by Brentford fans for some of the decisions he gave against Brentford back in the Championship days. So I don't know what's happened there, but Jesse Marsch has shown a straight red card. I don't think it's been a while since I've seen that. I mean, we've seen it a couple of times. I think it was Thomas Tuchel got sent off after the full-time whistle in the game between Chelsea and Spurs. But it's been a while since I've seen a Premier League manager sent to the. Does he have to go into the stands, or is he in the dressing room now?
I think he go to the dressing room. Maybe he could go back up the director's box if there's room for him or whatever. It tends to be you've said the things that you can't say. And we all know those things, so let's not bother with that. He finds trouble. I think he'd be disappointed, but equally, it looks a free kick now at the edge of the area for Brentford.
Leeds have just got to be careful now. They don't want to lose their head. as an American, speaking of Jesse Marsch, an American sport I'm a big fan of is baseball, and you see it in baseball sometimes where a manager goes out to have a row with the umpire knowing he's going to get sent off, but he does it to try and show his players that I'm seeing the bad decisions and I'm with you kind of thing, but it can also backfire and lead to more dissent. So it's one of those where the Leeds players have just got to try and rein it in a little bit.
No, if he said something too much, that doesn't help his team at all. It strikes me that we don't know too much about Jesse Marsch, but he's got plenty of previous getting involved, the touchline, and overdoing it really. He looks like he wears his heart on his sleeve and he kicks every ball. I don't know how much that helps his team though.
As I say, it can go, but Thomas Frank's certainly not one to shy away from a dispute on the touchline. I was half expecting the two of them to come to blows at one stage today, but that's obviously not going to happen now. Just to tell you as well that there's an equaliser at the City Ground, Bournemouth from 2-0 down to 2-0, and it's Dominic Solanke with the goal on 63 minutes there, so 2-2 between the two newly promoted sides there at the City Ground. Still goalless at St James's, but there has been a goal at Stamford Bridge, and it's West Ham who've taken the lead via Michail Antonio. So things are hotting up for Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea. They've certainly not made the start they were expecting this season. Likewise, Liverpool. But 66 minutes gone here. Free kick to Brentford. It's taking a long time to set up here, but it looks like Ivan Toney fancies his chances again, and why wouldn't he after that free kick in the first half? Brian Mbeumo is there as well, but it is Ivan Toney. He just lifts it over the bar. I tell you what, if he gets that on target, Meslier's not getting there.
No. Yeah, well, I tell you what though, he's got his sighter in already, hasn't he? He's scored a tremendous free kick goal, and he's hunting for that top corner again. And if he, like you say, if he gets it right, you've no chance with that. Another change going to be made by Thomas Frank's team, and I think, look how close that went. Honestly, that is as close to goal as you're going to get, that free kick. Very
close indeed. I did see a 13 on the board there, so that would be Zanka Jorgensen, the big defender, just getting Brentford's height statistics up there a little bit. It's a surprise he didn't start, actually, thinking about the sort of team that Leeds have today. But Zanka is on. We're just waiting for confirmation, and it's Vitaly Janel. So Brentford making quite a defensive change. They're taking off a central midfielder and bringing on a centre-back.
Yeah, I mean, he's a sort of defensive midfielder, isn't he? 6 foot. But anyway, Jorgensen comes on. So you assume it'd be a back three now, and
yes,
they'll just sit back. And it's a 2-goal lead, isn't it? And I can understand, even with a quarter of a game left, how they would want to protect that. And of course now for Leeds, who takes over, who's calling the shots. I'm sure that there'll be a call through to Jesse Marsch, and he'll probably be on the mobile phone now telling him what he thinks and what he needs to do. Absolutely,
but Josh Da Silva wins the ball back here for Brentford, and his pass, it's just behind the intended target. He was looking for Toney. I think he should have been looking for Mbeumo. He was the better pass for me there, but the ball cleared to the halfway line, and Zanka Jorgensen with his first touch being closed down by Brandon Aronson goes back towards David Raya, who just rolls the ball into midfield. That's a terrible pass, though. A from Raya and B from the Brentford midfielder, just turning his back there and giving that straight away. But here come Leeds again now down the left-hand side with Stroud. Got options left and right here as Pascal Stroud just tries to play that ball in towards Aronson. And click at the edge of the area. Ball threaded through to Bamford. A strike coming in, and it's just wide from Aronson. But again, a good build-up there from Leeds.
Yeah, again, they're doing all right. I think Bamford makes a big difference to them. Ball into feet tends to stick. It was actually well defended by Ben Meat, just flicking the ball away. But that led to Aronson a strike. You could have played this game 20 times and had lots of different outcomes. But at the moment, still Brentford on the lead.
Yeah, so with the three-quarter mark in the game now, I've been Paul Szczerbakowicz, and for the last quarter of this match, it'll be John Hogan to take us through to full-time.
So, camera just lingers on Crysencio Summerville, the young Dutchman. He's taken the place of Luis Sinisterra, who I'd actually thought was Leeds' best player. Scored a good goal, has proved that he's got a right foot finish as well as his more natural left foot. And like I said, I think in the fullness of time it will look like money well spent for the youngster from Feyenoord. But for the moment, it is Brentford back on the ball with them. Mbeumo peels out to the right-hand side, gets round his marker, still got the ball, tries a little heel, but it breaks, and Stroud just chips it down the flank. He's happy to get rid of it. Brentford have brought lots of fresh legs into it. I can't remember who came on for Baptiste.
So it's Onyeka who's come on for Keane Lewis Potter, and Josh De Silva has come on for Shandon Baptiste. Zanka Jorgensen came on for Vitaly Anel. So 2 out of the 3 Brentford starting central midfielders are off the pitch now, as Thomas Frank just looking to try and shore things up. They've gone to a back 3 now with Janssen, Jorgensen and me. Hickey and Henry will be the 2 men out wide. And I think it's going to be almost like a midfield 3 of De Silva, Onyeka and Jensen, with Toney and Mbeumo almost playing as a 2 up front. So they're just trying to give themselves a little bit more battle in midfield. There's another change here for Leeds. It's an interesting one as well, as Luke Ayling comes on here for Cody Drameh.
Yeah, I think this is all, not Leeds accepted that they're going to get beaten, but this is like just spade work going forward. I think Cody Drameh's played quite well today. I don't see any reason why you would bring Luke Ayling on other than to give him game time, because eventually he's going to be it. That thought that, they bought Christensen, but maybe he's not the right fit, too soon for Drameh, and then maybe Luke Ayling is back in the fold.
Well, Ayling would have, when Cooper's injured, Ayling would normally have the captain's armband as well, wouldn't he, for Leeds?
Yeah, he's an important player, and maybe they lack a little bit of that, but...
look at this. Ayling's been on the pitch seconds here, and it's a clash of heads just inside the Brentford half, just over the halfway line. I think it's Ben Mee who's the injured party for Brentford, and Ayling goes down for Leeds.
Let's take another look at it. They've both got eyes on the ball. I think Ayling should be leaving that one be, really. I don't think there's any chance that he could get it. But it's his first balls come towards him. He's only just come on, be desperate to get involved. But unfortunately, he lands a glancing blow on the temple of Ben Mee, who got to the ball first. Ayling is so late in that, in fact. Like I said, sometimes I think you've just got to leave it and accept you're not going to win the header. But he's keen as mustard. But they're both still on the deck.
They are. I mean, if it turns out that Ben Mee does have to go off, he won't count as one of the 5 substitutions. It's almost like a blow to the back of the head. I think
it's possible here Luke Ayling's got a broken nose. If you see how glancing that blow is, when he comes up, his head back across the head of the other man. So for Ben Mee, it's like getting punched on the back of the head, and for Luke Ayling, he's holding his nose, I wouldn't be surprised if he's broken his nose there.
Well, this might be one of the shortest appearances ever then for a player in a Premier League game. Ayling's only been on the pitch for about a minute or 2, and he's already potentially got an injury which might see him having to go off. But Ayling, although he has got a lot of sort of tissue or gauze being sort of put to his nose there, he looks to be in a slightly better state than Ben Mee, who's only just sat up now. Former Leeds player there, Pontus Janssen, just coming across to check his former teammate. And as I say, Ben Mee is up on his feet now, but he looks like he's been in the wars there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like getting hit by a hammer, the back of the head, and unsuspecting, because he's come to win a clean ball as well.
Yeah. Ayling now getting some boxer-style treatment there, some cotton bud up the nose to try and stem the blood flow.
Well, if it isn't broken, it's dead sore, isn't it? And he'll know all about that. Looks like Chelsea might just have equalised. Anyway, Brentford 3, Leeds 1, and all this is sort of just, in a sense, winding down. I know they had a bit on, but, for the Brentford fans, I think they'll be enjoying how things have gone today. I don't think there's a cigarette paper between the two teams, and like I said, if they played X amount of times, you get X amount of different results. But it's just the way the cookies crumbled.
It has. I mean, the possession stat we've just seen, 67% for Leeds, 33% for Brentford. It's 10-all in terms of shots. Brentford lead shots on goal by 5-3. Maybe that's the key, that Leeds have just lacked that little bit of clinical finishing in front of goal today. Yeah,
I mean, maybe Leeds with an Ivan Toney in their team might have won today, but Bamford's on, and
he's not for sale.
He's done all right since he's come on, Patrick Bamford, and well, the thing is, you need to keep your key cogs, don't you? And Mbeumo and Toney are absolutely vital to this Brentford team. Anyway, Roca now is on the ball. It's a really good ball forward. Gellard picks it up and slants it forward for Ayling. But that ball is just flicked out off the toe end of Rico Henry, I think, and it will be a corner kick for Leeds. if this one goes in, it's game back on again.
Absolutely, yeah. 15 minutes to go. Just to confirm, there has been an equaliser at Stamford Bridge, just down the road, and it's Ben Chilwell that's got the goal for Chelsea. I've got to say, the Met Police aren't going to be happy with Chelsea, West Ham, Leeds, Millwall and Cardiff all playing in London today, as well as Spurs. It could be quite a lively time at the main railway stations in London after the game. The corner kick coming in from the right-hand side. David Raya juggling it a little bit, but eventually making the save.
Yeah, again, it's a poor corner from Leeds. They don't seem to have anybody who can, put a decent ball in at the moment. Harris has gone off. I mean, he was pretty poor at Ellen Road against Everton. Couldn't beat the first man, but then again, they couldn't, get it past the near post. The ball is headed by Roca, but he can only find De Silva, and Brentford have the ball. Brentford 3, Leeds 1. 75 minutes gone. And 4 Leeds, they're not quite down and out just yet, but they seem to have lost a little bit of the impetus at half-time. I would have to say that they were going pretty well, but sometimes you make a change too many and you lose what it was that you had in the first place. And I thought that Sinisterra was their best player, so... I mean, obviously, he's in his infancy in the Premier League, and then, sometimes you be careful of a workload. But equally, I just think he was going well.
He was going well, and he's been replaced by an equally unknown quantity in Summerville, who is also a very talented player. We've certainly seen glimpses of that, but when you've already got a young player on the pitch for 70 minutes doing well, I think it's more of a gamble to bring on another untested player than to leave that player to finish what's already been a pretty good game anyway. Yeah,
sometimes it's change for change's sake, or you've got 5 changes, so you must make 5 changes, but... not necessarily, anyway. It's still Brentford 3, Leeds 1. Leeds try to get out their own half of the minute, making heavy weather. As Cott goes back to Meslier, thumps it over the halfway line, looking for targets, and eventually the ball headed back where it came by Pontus Jansson. Will be out for a throw. And in fact, it come off one of those dark shirts, so it will be a Brentford throw. There'll be no hurry to take it. Jorgensen now taking his own sweet time. The clock's the enemy as much as the scoreline now for Leeds. As eventually Zanka gets rid of the ball. His teammates dispossessed, and it leads through Roca trying to make progress, but that's heavy weather in the middle of the park. Adams comes to join in. Then Summerville tries to get over his shoulder, but I think that ball had gone out. It was all getting a little bit tight down that far left-hand side. I think Roca's played all right. He and Adams certainly provide a bit of drive to this midfield. They're not the strongest 2 in the middle of the park in the Premier League.
But they've started the season as the 2 for Leeds, and they've kept their place. And I think that with every game they look more sort of accomplished as a pair of defensive midfielders. Speaking of defensive midfielder, it was Pierre Højbjerg that had given Spurs the lead just before half-time against Fulham, and now Harry Kane with the second goal. Spurs leading against Fulham by 2-0.
Yeah, here now with Aronson edge of the area, finds Ayling. And he's looking to straighten up, evades challenges, then gets it out of his feet. Maybe an opportunity now. The ball across, and then, it's an opportunity for Bamford. How did that not go in? He almost cleared the lines there as the ball breaks into the box, and then it's a great save from David Raya. I thought that was going to be a goal back for Leeds. Diving like a cat to his right-hand side to deny Marc Roca.
He dives like a cat to deny his fellow countryman there, Spanish... midfielder shooting, a Spanish goalkeeper making the save. But Bamford, they don't really make blooper DVDs anymore. They'll just be clips on YouTube. But Bamford's going to be in those because he has essentially slid across the Brentford 6-yard box 3 yards from goal and played the ball across the goal rather than putting it into the back of the net.
Yeah, it would have been easier to score, wouldn't it? He's like a defender blocking. But that should have been at least one back, you would have thought. Anyway, Leeds a corner kick now. It's steepled up into the air. In the box, eventually dealt with by Brentford, but they haven't cleared their lines, and so Leeds can recycle the ball. Llorente looking to put the early ball in, but now he's looking for the overlap. He uses Ayling pretty well, who slants the ball across, the shot comes in, it's in the back of the net, and Leeds have got one back. They're not over-celebrating that, desperate to get back, but it is Marc Roca who eventually has beaten his compatriot, and it's Brentford 3, Leeds 2. In fact, he's that choked off. I don't know why Stroud is having a word with the referee.
I think that it was the usual shenanigans of a Brentford player, but not wanting to let go of the ball after it was in the back of the net. I think that's what the referee has come across to see. We'll have a look at this replay. There's no way that anybody can be offside here in this particular move. So the goal is going to stand, absolutely. And we are on for a grandstand finish here now.
Yeah, and well, again, Brentford very narrow there, and it's almost like, well, they'll let Ayling put the ball in, but then you've got to mark up, don't you? And I think there, if Roca had not got it, I think Bamford was going to get it. So, two waiting for the ball, and now we've got this. Well, what could be a pretty big 10 minutes. If Leeds come away with a point, they'll be absolutely elated. And it certainly will feel like points dropped if Brentford don't make it.
Oh, look at this.
They've got an opportunity here, Brentford, to seal the deal. And it's rolled into the back of the net by Mbeumo. Too easy, that. He just, and has the flag gone up there? He's got his hands on his head. Is it going to get choked off? Was he just off there? That flag has gone up the far side.
Well,
I mean, we're just looking at that, and all of a sudden, Mbeumo's there. The goal at his mercy, and he rolls it in. But I didn't see the build-up to that.
Well, we'll wait and see the goal. Has it been already chalked off? We'll see. As Toney heads this on, he is offside. He is offside there in Mbeumo, not by much. I mean, it's a let-off for Leeds. The fact that this is essentially 5 or 6 touches after Brentford kicked off from conceding their second goal. Leeds very nearly conceding their fourth, but it looks to me like Mbeumo is maybe by 2 steps there offside.
Yeah, it looked like they held their line there, Leeds. I wouldn't, I think there's an element of good fortune about that, because I don't sense there's any coming together between, the centre-backs there. There's any sense of control in what they're doing. Their line is like a dog's hind leg, and they just got dead lucky there. Eventually, VAR will tell us the truth about that, which is that yes, and Mbeumo he tried to bend his arm, but he just gone too soon.
Well, now we're seeing the VAR purple screen. I'm not sure why it's taking this long. We've looked at 4 or 5 replays. To us, they look pretty clear every single time, but looks like VAR still wants to have a final check here. And just maybe to see the official lines. I don't see why. I mean, to me, it's pretty clear that the goal is going to be disallowed. Mbeumo is offside by a couple of steps. Just having a quick word with his fellow compatriot there, Ilan Meslier. But Meslier, of course, is probably...
What is deadly obvious is that he's offside. I don't know why we have to watch this ad nauseum, and I don't know why it's taking X amount of minutes.
Go!
How on earth? How on earth is that? Unless the ball came off a Leeds United head.
That must be. I mean, we're getting off-tube pictures here, and I mean, to me, I have to say that I'd love to see the analysis of that again, because what we haven't seen is that famous line that confirms whether somebody's offside. Where? I mean, unless they've decided that it's Mbeumo's legs,
it's come off Cork's head.
Oh right, that must be what it is, because Mbeumo is no matter what part of his body you look at, goal-scoring parts of his body are in an offside position. There's no doubt. It flicks off Toney and then comes off Cork, does it, John? It must be that.
It must be. It's not obvious. It definitely comes off Cork. If it touches the Brentford head first, then he's offside. I don't think there's any touch from Toney. I think it just comes off Cork's head, who's competing for the ball, and then he's through. Essentially, if Cork leaves the ball, nothing's going to happen. But he's a player, so he's competing. Anyway, it didn't look obvious, but there we go. It's Brentford 4, Leeds 2. Who knew we'd get 6 goals in this game?
I didn't think we'd get 6. I thought it'd be quite an open game, but Bryan Mbeumo, big smiles on his face. He's off now, and Johan Visser on to replace him. I think it's a double change for Brentford as well. I saw another substitute.
I tell you what though, right? The man with the flag on the far side has done a brilliant job, because he kept that flag down. And Mbeumo's not looking across the arm offside, no point, and then finishes with no conviction. He's played on. The man kept his flag down, and you sort it all out afterwards, which is what happened there. So that's great stuff. Damsgaard is on.
Yes,
for
Dutch for Danish for Danish swap there. Mikael Damsgaard on for Matthias Jensen. So Brentford now making all 5 of their substitutions.
And here come Leeds then with a break down the left-hand side. And eventually the ball was just stuffed a little bit too long for them, and it's going to end up in a goal kick. It's been a weirdly sort of exciting kind of game. Some contentious goals in them, and it just shows you the kind of drama you get in the Premier League. I don't know. It would take a huge intellect to predict a 4-2 scoreline, and well done if you've managed to do that.
I think predicting a 4-2 in any game, I think, is quite hard because it's not a sort of score that jumps off the page as being. But of course, you those scorelines do happen. Just the one goalless game so far, still in the Premier League, and that is at St James's. Newcastle and Palace are still goalless. Wolves lead against Southampton by 1-0. Chelsea 1, West Ham 1. And it's Nottingham Forest 2, Bournemouth 2. Just to confirm, Fulham have just got a goal back at Spurs, so potentially a bit of a nervy finish for Antonio Conte's side there.
Yeah, this is a weird old game, I'd have to say. I think Leeds have played quite well. Obviously, there's stuff that they could have done better. I think Brentford will be thrilled with the 3 points that they're probably going to get. There's 5 minutes left. And there's lessons for both the two teams to learn, as Roca looking for a give and go with Summerville at the edge of the area. Leeds still trying to get something back, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another goal flying in. But anyway, here come Leeds. Just into the box they go, and then there's a great challenge in there. In fact, there's the referee giving a penalty there. Summerville's down again. I
think it's a free kick.
Is it a free kick? Just the edge of the area on Summerville.
Well, I mean, you mentioned yourself, you thought live that was a good challenge. We'll see from the replay here.
Yeah, just the edge of the area. I think it's Onyeka, is it?
I think he's quite unlucky there. I thought he was getting the ball. Onyeka was coming back. De Silva was tracking back, but it's Onyeka. Yeah, he just gets a bit too much of the man there, I think. It looked to me initially like it might be a good shout for not being a foul, but I think it probably is.
Summerville's one of these will-o'-the-wisp players who he can change direction quickly. As we're going to see Greenwood come on for Roca now. He's got stuff about him. Looks like Chelsea might have just taken the lead.
We'll just confirm that as soon as we get news that it is a goal. We're getting indication that it may be a late winner there for Chelsea. But this, I mean, if Leeds are still going to get something from this game, this is a great chance for them to do it. And it looks like straight off the bench and straight to take a set piece here for Sam Greenwood. Yeah,
Greenwood then puts the ball down, which suggests he's going to take it. He's inside the D, so just at the edge. Suit a right footer. It's going to be hard to bring this ball back down. And always hard to beat to David Raya, who's a great goalkeeper in my opinion. Anyway, what's he got? He's probably got to fly in if Leeds are going to get anything out of the game. Looks like there's one player lying down underneath the wall just in case of the daisy cutter, and there's all the usual. Everybody in a big lump, and I don't know what the referees are waiting for. There's been a lot of time wasted one way or another today. So much VAR messing about as well. Anyway. Greenwood takes a look up, and if he hits one as well as Ivan Toney did, this is flying in. But you'd have to go some, wouldn't you? Stroud just stood in front of the wall. As Aronson, Cock, Clicker all in there. And, the referee sorted it out.
It is taking a very long time, this. It is very frustrating. Just to tell you, Kai Havertz did put Chelsea 2-1 up. But we're getting word that seconds later West Ham have got an equaliser there, so they're potentially a goal for 2-2. Just wait to confirm that in a moment, but for the time being, Greenwood can finally take this free kick.
And he smashed it straight into the wall. Not quite what he was after, but I suppose good defending, a staunch wall. And in fact, it is Pontus Jansson who's gone down.
Yeah, looks like he might have been caught flush in the face there. So we'll just see from this replay as the ball comes in. Oh yes, it's he's pretty much headed that free kick away, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, he got his face in the way. I'm not sure about heading it away, but
he faced it away. He faced it away, didn't he? There is Maxwell Cornet on 90 minutes, just 90 seconds after Chelsea went 2-1 up at Stamford Bridge. Cornet has equalised to make it 2-2. And how about this for a reversal? Bournemouth were 2-0 down at half-time away to Nottingham Forest, and now on 87 minutes they're 3-2 up. With the youngster Jaden Anthony getting the goal for Bournemouth to make it 3-2 now.
That's incredible, isn't it? And
particularly with the way Forest have started this season, you'd have thought 2 up at home to Bournemouth, they were going to run out winners there, but caretaker manager Gary O'Neill getting a tune out of his players.
Yeah, you have to give great credit to Gary O'Neill. We're just talking because there's nothing happening in our game. We've had 6 goals. I doubt that the score is going to change now, but I felt sometimes you think all these 5 subs, it just makes the game that bitty, really. We see that in internationals and friendlies, don't we, when there's sort of too much as Ayling tries to make some ground down the right-hand side. And, of course, Jesse Marsch is nowhere to be seen. He got sent off. Don't know what it was he said, but really he's got to learn. He gets a bit too wrapped up. I think it's interesting watching him. Clearly he's got the players he wants, playing the style that he wants, and all that's great. But I don't detect much of a sense of humour about him, and I think he needs to find one. It's not life and death, and you've got to find a way around it. It is serious stuff at times, but even, the great manager like Jurgen Klopp can have a laugh about it.
Absolutely. Jesse Marsch himself said about Everton in the week about their time wasting, that it's an entertainment industry, and he has to remember that whilst it is serious and the stakes are huge, and obviously any Premier League manager is probably 4 or 5 defeats away from the sack at any time, really, aren't they? So they always feel that pressure, but at the same time, you've got to try and sort of marry that up to the fact that that too much intensity can go against you. And as I say, the total pass count there, Leeds almost treble the amount of passes to Brentford. The possession stat has actually gone up. It's 68-32 now in favour of Leeds, and confirmation that Maxwell Cornet's goal has been chalked off at Stamford Bridge. So Chelsea into injury time lead 2-1 against West Ham.
Tell you what, the VAR boys have been busy, haven't they, today? Ball into the box here. Bamford couldn't quite bring it in. He was very close to that, but hung out a leg, and it just wouldn't fall for him. Bamford, you can tell, is scratching away at his game to some degree, but already it looks like he offers something better to Leeds than what they started with. I thought Gellert played all right the first half. He'd gone a little bit quiet. For me, Sinisterra had played well. Ivan Toney's going to be the man of the match for me out of all this, because I think that, you're given opportunities, aren't you? And then it's up to you to take him, and he just does. In open play, he's hardly seen anything of the ball, but when he's been required, he's been superb. The ball just hits Aronson on the ankle there as he's trying to scamper through. Just doesn't look like it's going to be 8 minutes of added time. That's a lot, isn't it? Anyway, I'm not surprised at that.
Well, no, we've had a lot of stoppages. I mean, the VAR check for the 4th Brentford goal took a while. We've had a clash of heads with me and Ayling. Pontus Jansson had a head injury. There have been multiple substitutions, and you always lose about a minute every time a goal's scored, and let's face it, we've seen quite a few of them in this game. So I think 6 or 7 minutes would have been the absolute minimum.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, which might give Leeds a little bit of hope, but they're robbed. Here's an opportunity from Bumu. He's driving through, and he puts the ball into the back of the net, and it's Visser, and it's definitely 5. And that's not going to get chalked off by anybody. He just picks a pocket there, the edge of the box. Visser runs through, finishes coolly and calmly on his right foot, and makes the game really safe now.
Yeah, he does his little Buddha celebration there. There's Johan Visser, but the thing that I noticed about his celebration, he deliberately played it down because he's quite angry. He scored Brentford's equaliser off the bench against off the bench against Palace on Tuesday, and he didn't get the start today. Lewis Potter got in ahead of him, and I think Visser's sort of just sending a message to Thomas Frank that potentially he should be getting the start. But what on earth are Strauick and Diego Llorente doing there? Llorente, very lightweight.
Llorente there, no idea. He probably waited for support that wasn't coming, and Brentford here showing a bit of form that they showed against Manchester United. Yeah, we will close you down. If you mess about playing out from the back, we'll show the appetite to come and nick the ball off you and put it in the back of the net. This is a brilliant Brentford performance, doing what Brentford do, I think, today. They've drawn Leeds forward a little bit, hit them on the counter, created really gilt-edged opportunities and taken them. And then when they've needed to, with Leeds ponderous at the back, they've made them pay. And here they go again. So Leeds learning all sorts of lessons today. Here's another opportunity for another goal, just the edge of the area. Shot comes in. It's a good save by Meslier. And in the end, it shots in. This could get embarrassing for Leeds if they continue to defend like this.
Visser was actually a little bit selfish there. He went for a very acrobatic rebound after Ivan Toney's shot was actually very well saved by Meslier. But if Visser leaves that, De Silva has pretty much got an easy route to go to make it 6. But as it stands, we've still got 5 minutes to play, and Brentford lead by 5-2.
Yeah, I thought Tony's right foot shot there. It was on target, but it brought out a relatively easy save for the keeper. And again, Visser's just hanging a leg out at that. I wouldn't blame him too much. And when you think you've got the game won, everybody's going to have a pot shot, aren't they? Leeds haven't quite given up yet, with Ayling now putting the ball into the box. Little drag turn from Bamford. He gets it out with his feet. Aronson now juggling with the ball. They can't get a shot away. Now they can. Oh, and it's is that pushed into the back of the net? I think Leeds have got one back.
I think it's what's happened there. We'll just see from a replay as Bamford turns and it goes to Aronson. Aronson's effort Then he lays it off for Stroud, and Raya pushes it off the post. Sorry, he pushes it onto the stanchion post behind the goal that then hits the sort of side netting, but it is a corner kick to Leeds.
It is. I thought they got one back there. Anyway, corner kick comes to nothing, and again, there's a lot of work that they're going to need to do in training. Corner kicks have been deplorable from Leeds throughout. Whoever has taken them really need to get some quality on the ball like that. Today they were slightly the taller team. They've not been able to take advantage of that.
Jesse Marsch will have a little bit more time with his players because Leeds' next game is the Monday night football, a week on Monday when they play at home to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, and they need to get it sorted. I mean, and clearly Forest have got all sorts of bedding in to do with their players, the systems, and all that.
Got literally a whole new squad of players, haven't they, Forest? Yeah.
They have. Picking the ball, picking your best 11 is going to be a job. But he's I think, a really savvy manager. And for Leeds, well, they've scored 2 goals away from home. But it's still the same old problem for them.
It's not only 2 goals away from home. They've had double the possession of the home side. They've had more efforts on goal. They've completed over 400 passes to Brentford's nearly 200. And yet they're losing the game by 3 goals. And that in itself is reason to be concerned.
I think you look at the styles, don't you? We remember that Leicester team that won the title. They did that with next to no possession.
One of the last teams in the league for possession. That's true. Yeah.
No, that's right. So it's not necessarily about that. Brentford have their style, and a lot of it's playing on the counter-attack. And again, and Bumo, I mean, maybe first half didn't get his passes away, but I think Brentford, all in all, have played their game plan well enough. You play with the squad that you've got, the cards that you dealt. I think Thomas Frank does a good job with. And like I said, they could play this game a number of times, and I think there'd be a number of very varied different outcomes. But it's gone Brentford's way today, as Leeds still trying to hustle and harry. There's a little schmozzle and Click getting involved with Hickey. Everybody having a bit of a shove now as they're all seemingly getting involved.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit unnecessary from both sets of players. I mean, there's obviously a lot of posturing with Premier League footballers. They're never going to give anything away. They're always going to show the fans and the viewers on TV that they're not going to be taken lightly. But with the scoreline being what it is, both sets of players should just rein it in a little bit. It's not going to affect the scoreline today, and it's just going to be picking up unnecessary yellow cards, which could be costly later in the season.
Yeah, there's very little point, is there? Aaron Hickey and Mateusz Click both get yellow cards for their part in that. It all just goes to wind down the clock a little bit.
Hickey was trying to turn away. Click then gets his body in the way. You could argue that potentially Hickey is actually fouling Click there. I think he's sort of driving away from the ball, but then Click's reaction, I think, is just a little bit too much, and then Zanka trying to get involved there as well. It was just sort of a tangle of bodies, and neither player wanted to give in there. I think he has been given as a free kick after all of that.
Yeah, I think it's just about right for the rugby tackle from Hickey. Anyway, can Greenwood find a good delivery for Leeds that's been in short supply, really? They are quite a tall team, though. They should have an opportunity here. As the ball comes in, looks a decent one to the far post. Up go the heads, but it's off a Brentford head first. And they've defended set pieces well enough today. As Click's going to leave that throw for Ayling. Ayling come on for Cody Drammer. First thing that happened was we thought he'd broken his nose in a challenge with Ben Meat. Anyway, he puts the throw forward. As again... Brentford struggling to clear their lines. Anyway, Brentford 5, Leeds 2. We're coming to just about the end of the game as Click has the ball and he plays it off, I think, on Yeke's leg, and he's going to leave that throw for Ayling. So it's been a weird old game. I doubt this is going to be the first game we see on Match of the Day tonight, but it's had something about it, and a few goals, particularly from Ivan Toney, who... for me, he's been man of the match.
I think it's a fair shout for the first game. It's got 7 goals in it. For that reason alone, I think it might make it.
Yeah,
the Forest-Bournemouth game looks quite a tasty one.
Yeah,
as well.
I think the comeback from Bournemouth might be it. Also, I would say that both teams have sort of played their style today, but I wouldn't be giving either team much more than 6 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a weird game like that. Brentford a 3-goal cushion, and I'm probably giving them 6 and Leeds 5 today.
Absolutely, yes. But once Raya takes this goal kick, that should be it then, John. Referee just looking at his watch once again.
Yeah, we could crack on with our late game. There's a bit of work to do, and in fact, that's it. The referee's seen enough. So the final scoreline at the Gtech Community Stadium was Brentford 5, Leeds 2.